Hello there, boxing is back. Finally, we have a schedule of fights to get our teeth stuck into. Fight Camp begins on August the 1st, and you can watch all the action, of course, live on Sky Sports. Now, over the coming weeks, Matt Macklin and Johnny Nelson are going to be debating those scheduled fights and the potential clashes that you all want to see. Now, one of the most intriguing fights in our first Fight Camp is Jordan Gill versus Reece Bellotti. We got a really positive reaction when this was announced, and it's a really good bit of matchmaking, I think. Right, you guys, your opening statements. I want to know who you're picking and why. I'm going to start with Johnny Nelson first.
All right, of course I'm going to go for Jordan Gill, proper slickster. He's 26 years old. He was 26 just gone. And this young man can box. This young man has got so much boxing IQ, boxing technique. It's when he's in his flow, you can't train for someone like Jordan Gill. And I actually spoke to Dave Cordler, and Dave Cordler said when he lost it to Tinoco, he actually said if I could turn back time and change it, I wouldn't, because that's made him into an even stronger guy, stronger fighter, because he's finally fallen off the horse. Now he's back on it again. There's no pressure on him. I think this will be a runaway fight for Jordan Gill.
Ooh, Matt, give us your case.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm picking Reece Bellotti. While I acknowledge what Johnny said about Jordan Gill, and I've been a Jordan Gill fan. I think he's really smooth, slick, he's skilled. When he gets into that rhythm, he's got beautiful boxing ability. That said, I thought it was a little bit alarming how he fell apart against Mario Enrique Tinoco. I think he was. I remember commentating on the fight, and he was hurt from a body shot, and he kept wincing. Anytime he got touched downstairs at all, he was wincing, and I thought maybe it was a one-off. Was he sick, or was there an injury, a rib injury perhaps, going into the fight? Because it was quite alarming how distressed he looked when it wasn't really getting hit with anything particularly hard downstairs. So I was a bit concerned with that. Was thinking that maybe it was a one-off, but I spoke to a few people since, and I've heard that he has been put down in the gym. He doesn't like the body shots, and I'm wondering, as skillful and as technically good as he is, maybe he's just not tough enough or a hard enough man as he steps up the levels. And one thing we know about Reece Bellotti is he cracks really hard. He fights at a heck of a pace. Very tough kid. He's had his losses. You know, one of them was, I think his last fight was in Italy, which was a split decision. So, you know, perhaps he was unlucky not to get the decision there. He got stopped against Ryan Doyle. I think he was looking past Ryan Doyle. And against Ryan Walsh, who's a really good fighter. Ryan Walsh is a really, really good fighter. It was a close fight. He was competitive and actually got better as the fight went on. So I just think when I look down that card of all the competitive matches, I think this is the one where we could see an upset. Even though people see it very competitive, 50-50-ish, I think Jordan Gill is definitely the favourite, and rightly so. But I've got a sneaky feeling that Bellotti might cause the upset.
Matt, you just mentioned Bellotti's losses there, and he has lost 3 of his last 5 fights. I think it's fair to say somewhat that the wheels have come off a bit for him. There were rumours as well that perhaps he might retire. I have to state there were rumours, not actual fact, I believe. Do you think the hunger's there for him still?
I lost a couple of times in my career, and you know, the self-doubt creeps in and the negativity can hit you, but it also made me stronger and better. Sometimes when you're undefeated, it's great and all that, but there's a lot of hype there as well. I think when you lose a fight, you have to do a lot of soul searching. You have to look within yourself, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think you look on the surface, and you could think, Jordan, Reece Bellotti lost 3 fights there, got stopped by Ryan Doyle. Yeah, you could just dismiss him as the 3 losses. But if you look closer at it and inspect it a bit deeper, and this is what you need to do if you're going to give a more informative decision, I think Ryan Doyle, he was definitely looking past, and he got caught, and Ryan Doyle can crack. And I think he just got caught. I think it was a bad night for him. He was probably believing his own hype a bit. He was undefeated going in. I think he learned a lesson. Ryan Walsh, he really grew into that fight. Ryan Walsh is a tricky, very clever, very competent southpaw. Got ahead of the game, but he came right back into that fight. But his belief grew within the fight. And then the last time he lost out in Italy, split decision. I didn't see the fight. I'm not saying it was a bad decision, but, Italy, split decision. I wouldn't be shocked if it was. So I actually think this is a huge opportunity for him. I think there is pressure on Bellotti because, if he loses again and he's already been thinking about retirement, then that's a conversation he's going to have to sort of revisit. But I think he's really poised. And I think the fact that, Gill has been hurt to the body. There's been rumours that he doesn't like the body shots, that he's been down in sparring. Maybe he's not that tough of a guy. You know, we're talking on levels, but maybe he's not as hard a man as he needs to be to progress forward. Skill-wise, absolutely top draw. Is he tough enough? I'm not sure. Bellotti, that's one thing I do know. He is tough. He comes in fantastic condition. He sets an unbelievable pace, and he's really, really going to put the heat on Jordan Gill.
Is Jordan Gill tough enough, Johnny?
You know, Anna, at the top of the show, I said about Jordan Gill, you've got to fall off that horse to realise it's actually not as bad. And I actually, that is fact. And I think with him losing to Noko, he all of a sudden realises, you know what, it's actually not that bad. So out of his 24 wins, he's knocked 7 of them out, which shows he can punch a little bit, but he can box better. Now he's experienced another aspect of his game, which he got to beat him. And that was more of a mental thing than anything else. And yeah, he did fall apart. But then all of a sudden he's grown. You hear the stories about since that fight, he's been in the gym, taking over and getting things right. But now it gives himself something more to fight for, because he knows it's not as bad as what he thinks. Any fighter watching this will know, especially if you're an unbeaten fight and you receive that loss, the pressure's off. Then you really start to enjoy what you're doing, or it makes or breaks you. I think for Jordan Gill, it'll have made him, because I think technically wise, he's outstanding. It's like watching art right in front of your very own eyes. And I think Bellotti will play right into his hands. He'll be picked, he'll be poked, he'll be matadored, and Jordan Gill will eventually make Bellotti's own aggression play against him. He'll try and get those solid shots in. He'll try and walk through him. And that's when you get picked off. I know how this works because I know that style of fight.
But Johnny, when Jordan Gill steps in the ring, he will have had almost a year out of the ring. Could that be a problem for him?
Well, it depends on what he's been doing in the gym, and this lockdown is a proper leveler for every fighter going. Yes, there are going to be 1 or 2 upsets, but the thing is this: everybody's had the same amount of time to prepare. Everybody's had the same amount of time to do nothing but train. So if he's going to pull it off, this is the time for him to pull it off. No excuses. So that time out of the ring, I was out of the ring, I think it was 13 months, maybe 18 months at one point, but I was always in the gym ticking over. So the difference was I just had to perform in public. I personally don't think it's going to make a difference. I personally think that as long as he's been ticking over and getting the sparring in, I personally don't think it will make a difference. It'll be a great excuse, but remember, there is no excuse because everybody's been in the same boat.
As Johnny said, we know Gill has got that footwork, the hand speed, the power as well. Do you think that Bellotti needs a high work rate, Matt, in this fight?
Well, that's the way he fights anyway, Anna. He comes in and he sets a ridiculous pace. Jimmy McDonald, his coach, is known as he's a taskmaster. He really puts them through the paces. They're always in great condition, and that's how he fights anyway. And that's what he will need to do for Jordan Gill. He can't stand back off Jordan Gill. He'll get his head. He'll get completely outboxed. Jordan Gill is a superior boxer. He's slicker. He's got more variety, better shot selection. He's more skillful. But Bellotti has to make this a dogfight. He has to make this about who wants it most, who's the tougher man. And while you can look at when you lose, you go back to the drawing board. You can make, you can improve on your tactics, on your skills. These things. If you can't take a shot to the body, maybe you can't take a shot to the body. I don't know how you improve on that. Maybe you do a bit more, floor work, a bit more sit-ups and stuff. But generally speaking, if that's a weakness, that's probably a weakness. And I just think that could be his undoing. I just think Bellotti, he's had the few losses, but I think that they have really made him a better fighter. I think Gill obviously fell apart against Tanaka. And for me, that is a big concern, how alarmingly he fell apart. Anytime he got touched at all downstairs, he was wincing. He looked like he didn't want to be in there. So Matt, I think Bellotti could upset the apple card.
We do have to say, though, in that Tanoko fight afterwards, Jordan Gill did say, didn't he, that he thinks he was suffering from food poisoning. He wasn't fighting on all cylinders, as it were, was he, Johnny?
No, he wasn't. And as I said, Dave said he looks back on that now, and Jordan just didn't tell him. He just didn't know. Would he have pulled him out? Would he have pulled him out? He said the result, maybe it's the best that could have happened to him because it's now changed him as a fighter. And that's exactly what it's done. I just believe skill-wise, what Jordan Gill has compared over Bellotti, who, remember, has only won 2 of his last 5 fights, so he's not on a mental roll right now. What he has over Bellotti, Bellotti will take him years to be able to learn what he can do, which is beautiful boxing, the sweet signs of boxing. And I think that's his go-to. Bellotti's might be strength, it might be fitness, but if you can box and you're fit and you can back it up, you beat almost everybody going. And I just think now it's about levels. And levels are, Jordan Gill is a level above Bellotti, and we'll see that come fight night.
No doubt, we know Jordan has the skills, but like Matt just said, if Bellotti makes it a dogfight, how will Jordan handle that? Will he be tough enough?
I think he will be tough enough. I think he will be tough enough because I think listen. I remember when he used to be at Winkerbank, and he and Kid Galahad used to have some serious spars, and you know what? Kid used to get the better of him. But you know, you've got to go through the school of hard knocks to actually be able to deal with it, to know you can deal with it. And again, knowing he's been through that fight with Tinoco, I think now he thinks, I can handle this. I can't afford for this to happen again. And so let's see, if there is no illness to use as an excuse, let's just see how he deals with it. And I personally think he's tough enough. He has the character to do it. His character might be a little more fragile than Bellotti's. But if once you're getting into the ring anyway, you've got to have the character, the bottle, to think, well, I can do this, I can take this kind of pressure. I think Johnny Gill's got it.
Matt, it's going to be a completely new experience for all the fighters taking part in this fight camp. I mean, there's going to be no fans, no audience, no one around them. And also, they're fighting outside. Who's going to handle it better, do you think, Matt?
I'm not sure. Look, the bottom line is it's a level playing field. It's not something that's going to take anyone by surprise. Everyone knows it's going to be in the garden. Everyone knows there's going to be no crowd. So, but their career means everything to them, like it does to all of us. So, you know, there's pressure on it. So there'll be nerves there. You know, this isn't like they're boxing at 6 o'clock in the afternoon on the undercard. 6 in the evening, first fight of the night of a pay-per-view, and nobody's in the arena, you know, a big empty arena, and it's you're part of a bigger thing, really. The main event's that while everyone's there, and you're just the first fight doing a 6-rounder at 6 o'clock that no one wants to see. That's not the case here. There's no crowd there at all. They know there's going to be no crowd there, and you know, it's a must-win fight for both guys. You know, Bellotti, Jordan Gill was getting the big sort of publicity, wasn't he? Sky were behind him. He was topping the bill. And we were really singing his praises because, and rightly so, because he looked so good. But, you know, then he fell apart against Tinoco. He's on a bit of a rebuild. Bellotti coming off a loss. He's lost 3 of his last 5, as you say. He can't afford to lose. So it's must win for both guys. So there's a lot of pressure on it for both men. But I just think if Bellotti can make it a dogfight, I think he has the upper hand.
What do you think, Johnny? Who do you think will handle the conditions better? I mean, someone like Reece Bellotti is used to fighting at York Hall, a very intense environment. Jordan Gill is headlined a next gen. Who's going to handle this better?
I think Bellotti made for Jordan Gill. That style of fight, where you've got an aggressive fight coming onto you, it makes it easier for Gill's style. I think when it comes to handling the situation where there's not a crowd there, I think Jordan Gill and Bellotti will be very professional about it, because funny enough, when you get in the ring, the last person you're concentrating on is anybody outside the ring. It's who's in there, because you have it in sparring, you have it in any little gym that's there. So the location, the crowd, I think these are two of those fighters where it doesn't make a vast difference to the performance that they'll turn on.
Do you know what? I think one thing though, can we all agree on? This could be fight of the night, couldn't it, Matt?
Oh, this is an intriguing battle because, like I say, if Bellotti stands off Gill, or if Gill can put him in his place and put manners on him with his power, then you know I think it's a landslide for Gill. I don't see how Bellotti can outbox Gill at all. But if he can take his power, or if he can get close to him and he can force the pace on him and really take Gill out of his rhythm and out of his comfort zone, if he can touch him downstairs to the body, then it's going to become very interesting. Then I think the tides turn, and I would favour Bellotti in that type of fight.
Johnny, you still sticking with your man Gill? Sticking with my man Gill. He's a bit like a bull in a matador, I think, and he gets it well. I think he puts on a class performance.
Well, do you know what? I can't wait. We've only got a few weeks to go. I mean, Johnny, you've got a few books to read behind you by the looks of it. Have you read them all?
Yeah, every single one of them. Every single one of them. Told story.
Keep you busy. Good talking to you guys.